we can use the differentiation to help us to find something called the small change, or we also call it the approximate change or approximations. So small changes or approximations for any values, we can apply the differentiation method to help us to find the small changes or the approximations. Well, what do I mean here? Let's have some example, will be easier. But before that, we have to familiar with some notation. If we say small change in x, it means delta x. So this read as delta. Small change in y, it means delta y. And delta y delta x is approximate equals to dy dx. This is a very important relationship that you must know. Now, how are we going to use this concept? Let's have some example. So I have prepared one simple example here. Given that y equals to 3x squared minus 4x, find the approximate change in y when x increases from 3 to 3.02. And our equation is y equals to 3x squared minus 4x. So we will differentiate first dy dx, and you get 6x minus 4. Now, x increases from, for x, increases from 3 to 3.02. So there's a small changes between 3 to 3.02. So what's the changes? And you could see from 3 to 3.02 means we have increased by 0.02. And this we call delta x, the small change in x. Now, we want to find approximate change in y. It means what would be our delta y. So utilize on the relationship we have, delta y delta x approximate equals to dy dx, delta y equals to dy dx times delta x. So delta y equals to dy dx is 6x minus 4 times delta x, which is 0.02. And what is your x? Since they say x increases from 3 to 3.02, the original x, which is 3, will put into the equation. So 6 times 3 minus 4. And then the whole thing multiplied with 0.02. So you get 14 times 0.02. And what do you get from here? Now you get 0.28. So the approximate change in y is 0.28. So you can take a small break now, and then we will show you the next example. Now, the next example is given that m equals to square root x. Find the value of dm dx when x is 16, x equals to 16. So we do this part first, m equals to square root x. To differentiate this, we need to change the square root x to x power half. So dm dx, you get half x power negative half. So we push it down to the denominator to have the positive power. So 1 over 2 square root x. Now, x equals to 16. So when x equals to 16, so we put in 1 over 2, put in the 16, square root 16. So you get 1, so let's put it on top, that will be better. So dm dx equals to 1 over 2 times 4, because square root 16 is 4. So you get 1 over 8. So this is the first part. Find the value of dm dx when x is 16. Now, find the approximate value for square root 16.04. Well, assuming what you have inside in the square root is x plus delta x, means a small change in the x, because originally our x is 16 and now we change it to 16.04. So we could say the x changes from 16 to 16.04, which we could say that this is your x, which is 16, and your delta x would be 0.04. Now, approximate value of 16.04, square root 16, if we say square root 16 equals to your m, because m is square root x. So if m is square root 16, if we have 16 plus delta x, the m will have plus delta m. So a small change in x will cause a small change in m. And we know that the m, when x is 16, your m is square root 16, which is 4. Now, when x plus delta x, we will have m plus delta m. So we need to find out what would be our delta m. So what would be our delta m? We can find our delta m, utilize on the relationship we have, which is delta m delta x is approximate equal to dm dx. So delta m is equals to dm dx times delta x. So what would be our dm dx when x is 16? Because our original x now is 16. And actually, we have found at the previous working, dm dx is equals to 1 over 8 when your x is 16. So you can check through again from here. This is the value for dm dx when x is 16. Now, when dm dx is 1 over 8, what will be our delta x? Because your x changes from 16 to 16.04. So the delta x is 0.04. So we can put in the delta x as 0.04. So you just multiply them together, you get 0.005. That is your delta m. So now the value for 16.04 is m plus delta m. And what is your m when x is 16? It is 4. Plus delta m, which is 0.005. And there you get 4.005. So square root of 16.04 is approximate equals to 4.005. You can double check it with your calculator. And this is how we apply the approximate change into the practical question.